Oh, here we go again.
Well, it looks like the left has found another individual to make into a martyr, you guys. Writing over the death of Jordan Neely has already begun. There are several questions revolving it, but one main question is, are people that are doing stuff like this just being glorified LARPers with mainstream media attention? Or are they fighting for some bigger social change here? That's something that we need to talk about. But let's talk about that right after I do the whole cringe YouTuber thing. You know, the whole like and subscribe and leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job, and commenting also lets me know what I need to improve. And also share your thoughts with me. So let's go ahead and get into it now. So the death of Jordan Neely, who was a homeless New Yorker who basically died while being restrained on a New York subway. This situation is being referred to as a George Floyd 2.0 situation. We got politicians calling this a public lynching, and that this is like white vigilantism. But we've got all these politicians trying to storm up another race narrative. But when you look at the situation, I think it's a lot more complicated than that. I think in this situation, we could all agree that life is a precious thing and just shouldn't be thrown away or disregarded, kind of callously, whether or not that is, a child, an unborn child, or in this case, a homeless guy. In all of those situations, regardless of if he's having a mental health crisis or any of the situations surrounding all of it, you don't want to see people die. You don't want to see people have to be put in these situations. But while you're also in that situation, you also have to recognize that, look, in a situation like this, you have a mental health crisis, you have an individual who has a record of, past violent actions, a criminal record, you have all these things. It's like, it's a really difficult thing for individuals and for innocent people to deal with. And I think there's a much bigger conversation to be had here around that than simply just making it like a race narrative. So yeah, we have to simultaneously recognize that it's being reported he was having a mental health crisis and, struggling with that, but also recognize the innocent people's right to defend themselves. Okay, so look, did the three men involved in restraining Jordan Neely, first of all, when you look at this picture, if this isn't diversity, I don't know anymore. Okay, like you got three guys, you got at least one person of color, the other one looks mixed, and then you got a white guy. The whole entire narrative is being built around the one white guy in cropped out pictures, and that this was some sort of white vigilantism or like a white savior complex, and to think that this guy had this thing. This was a military veteran who was trying to restrain somebody in a difficult situation with two other guys that were also participating that were not white in this situation. So I don't think it's not quite the race narrative that's being built up to. But we have to honestly ask this question: did the three guys do everything perfectly? No, honestly, no. I mean, I think that when you look at it, probably could have let go of him a while sooner. The situation, they did try to alert the officers. There was that system. They didn't get there in time, obviously. But these individuals, the guys that were restraining Jordan Neely, were not trained for this situation, but they did the best they could. They did try to put him into a recovery position after choking him out. But beyond that, we have to look at it is, if the rule of law, I think the bigger question is, if the rule of law was upheld in New York, these guys wouldn't have been put in this situation in the first place. Jordan Neely had a criminal record with 42 prior arrests at the time of this. And now are all these violent crimes? No, but he definitely had several, including assaulting people previously. So much so that it would make you question, why was he allowed on the streets? The simple answer is, right now, we have a weakened rule of law and justice, especially in liberal cities with these liberal policies. I think there's a huge debate around that. Is should everybody just be like imprisoned and like thrown away and stuff? Absolutely not. There's a lot of people that are put in prison and locked away for things that I think, honestly, the majority of people in society could agree, hey, that's not a good situation. Let's try to get them help and resources outside of that. Think about like minor drug possession, say like marijuana or something like that, where it's legalized in, probably almost half the states, a large swath of the states, but it's not federally legalized. There's people that are still getting arrested and losing years of their life for that. And I don't think that would be a fair assessment. I think a lot of people would agree on something like that, is like, these people don't belong in jail or in prison. But when an individual is showing violent tendencies, and confrontation with other innocent individuals in society, that is where it is a legitimate role of the police force and of government to step in and prevent these actions from coming in by actually going through the judicial process and evaluating whether or not these people are innocent or are innocent until proven guilty. And if they are proven guilty about these things, then they need to be kept away from the rest of society in order to build a safe and a more prosperous society for everyone. The simple answer is, with Jordan Neely's past record, should he have just been allowed to lie around or walk around the streets and do all these things? No. Did he necessarily have to be in like prison or in jail? I don't know. There's probably other resources that could have been used, but the fact is what was done did not work. And with a long prior record up to the situation, it's unreasonable for us to say everything was followed and that this isn't a symptom of something much more worse systematically inside of our judicial system, inside of the police system, and these kind of systems, rather than it being some sort of overarching racial issue in our country because of these things. These are very rare isolated events that happen because of, you know, the tragedy that we're not upholding our law, and we have a revolving door around our prisons and stuff for people with violent records. And now looking at this, the simple question is even arresting one of the individuals that, you know, helped restrain Jordan Neely, charging him, is that really going to do anything in this situation? No, honestly, no. You know, it's going to quell the mob. There's always a mob mentality that people want to go out there and they riot and they scream and they want to build these narratives. I think a lot of times because it is just kind of this form of LARPing or something where they feel like they need this crusade, just like a race crusade, to make them feel important. This is their cause that they want to take up to give them their own self-importance in this. And this is kind of another thing that, and also you start looking at liberal media, mainstream media, and just the profiteering that they can make off of things like this situation. You know, the increase and focus on race crime, all of these things are starting to build up, and it's becoming big business. Ultimately, kind of like how our prison system is in some ways a business first system, which doesn't value individual people and doesn't value overall the effect of society. It's all about the money at some point, and that's a very dangerous position to be at as a country. And we really need to look and take a deep and honest look at society and actually look for some beneficial things that we can push out of this. We need to respect the rule of law. We need not to defund the police. We need to refund the police and put more resources into that, put more judicial backing into that. And, you know, even if you want, if there's an issue, focus on things that can increase accountability within the police force. I'm not saying every single police officer that does the job and puts on their badge is a saint and that they're going to do everything right. No, but ultimately, I think you have to weigh the balances. If you do not have a strong police force, then you're not going to have a rule of law at all. The ultimate method would be to invest in things, you know, more police body cams, you know, other ways for inspection and police to be held accountable for their actions, because it is a very important position. And, you know, you need to get the best people possible in these positions. You also probably need to look at giving them better pay and better benefits, because if this is just a situation where no good people want to go into that field because they're going to be hated on, and, you know, financially it's a very low paying job as well, especially for what is expected of you, then we're not going to be getting the best people in these situations. So the simple answer to this situation is, and what we can take away from this is, that right now we have a weakened rule of law in this country, and we need to get back to responsible enforcement of our already existing laws, and if we need be, look into changing some in the future, or this stuff is just going to keep happening, guys. Honestly, that's my thoughts on this, and hopefully you guys got something productive out of this. As always, just a quick reminder, leave a like I said before, and give me a comment. Let me know what you guys thought, and let me know if I can improve the videos in any way. But anyway, thanks guys. Bye.